created the complete application, but I am recording this video just to explain the basics. So this is Matlab. I have 2017 version, but all these commands work fine till 2015 version. We can start the GUI application window by typing guide, GUIDE guide, and this window will quick start will open. So we are creating our customized application, so we will start from black GUI. Let's press OK. So this is the figure that we will use to generate the graphical interface. Here is the backend code, and here are all of the stuffs Matlab have. So let's expand it like this. We have all these different graphical interface options. This is button, and it will pop down. This is push button. This is slider. And all these we have so many options here. So we want to create the first thing in our app is the background image we want to display. So I first go to the axis, draw it completed like this. By the way, the images we have is I have manually determined the size of the image so that we can fix the image and whole of the window. Like this image has dimension of 1200 cross 1000. So this what we can call this axis should match the size of the I guess the picture we are pasting it. Not exactly the size, but it should match the aspect ratio. Like I can okay. So I have created the user interface. Now I need to do something with it. What this user interface will do, we will decide here. This is all the basic stuff Matlab creates itself. We don't need to worry about that. What we need to worry is the axis1, that is the name of the axis file, axis1 underscore create function. This function is called whenever this axis is created. So whatever we want to do with this, we need to code it here. So I want it axis h object, and I want to I am show the image. The image is what the image name is. Image name is background. Is background.jpg. That's it. Go back here. We want to run it, but we have not yet saved that file. .m file. We need to save it. Save. Come back here, and this is the run button. What's wrong with that? Okay. Undefined. Oh, this is object. Run it, and here we go. We have the background image. Now this black side mm, uh, shows that we have the aspect ratio of the axis is not matching with that of the background image. So what we need to do simply is we can match the boxes of we can match the exact aspect ratio of the axis to the aspect ratio of the background image. So what I have done is I need to do I need to keep 10 rows of the boxes and 12 column of the back boxes to completely fit the image into the axis. So I already have done this. App is ready, but I am recording to just to show you how to do it. Okay, we have successfully generated our background image. This now what next is we want to create the um, 3 panels, 9 boxes that will contain the 9 images. Sorry, not 9, but 15 images. We will have 3 columns on 5 rows in each column. So we need to fix 3 panels. Here we have panel. Here is one panel 1. We can change the settings of this panel. We can change the background color and all this stuff. Here is the name title of this panel. Here is the title position where this will be written. I don't need this, so just remove it and enter. That will be gone. So I have now created the panel upon one axis. Now next is let's run it and let's see what happens. Here is the background image and here is the panel. So we are going well. Okay, I need to have 5 figures in a column, 5 different figures in a column, and I will have 3 panels like this. I copied this panel and pasted it, and here we have 3 panels like this. So now we need to uh, now we need to do something so that we can show the images of fruits here on the panels. So we will draw axis for one image. So here is one axis. It will basically work for just one image. Let's run it and see what happens. Here we go. Blank axis. We have blank axis. So we need to perform certain actions, like we need to show the image of the fruit in this box, and that image will be randomly selected from the 5 images you have provided me. So let's we call create function. Create function means we will create a function that will perform whatever we want for this box. So we just created the function for it, like this access h object. This access h objects uh, um, what this does is it make the axis just into this object of the axis or button, whatever we were dealing with. So access 2, the name of this box is access 2, so we are here, right? So I will copy this axis just to fit our image within the box, and The next thing we want is we want to show a random image from the five of the fruits you have provided me. These are the five fruits: salmon, apple, this background, banana, W, and strawberry. W is basically whatever watermelon or whatever is it. So what I did is I created an function. What this function does, it it finds all the images of this PNG extension in the directory, select generate a random image. The range of the random image will be from 1 to size of my image, that will be 5. This number will generate 5. So from 1 to 5 this random number will be generated, and each number is assigned to one of these 5 figures. So random image, get the responding name of how we get the name of the image. We go to the my images structure, and we go to that random number, and we just call the dot name of the that structure, and we will get the name of our file. And what we want, what next remains is, here is the name of the image. What will we do is just to show it. ImRead will read the name of and will read the image, and we don't want to save it, so we directly show it like this, and we will pass the output the random number that is generated through this process, and that number will be associated statically associated with the position of these image files. Like 7 is number 1, so 7.png will have number associated 1. Similar like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's return to this. But now we want a push button that will be used to spin. This is spin button. All other things apply the same. Here are the properties of this push button. We can change the properties whatever we want, and similarly we should create the function, callback function, that will be used when we push the button. This is callback function, and we leave this empty because we don't want uh, this access to function independently. We want to uh, perform certain tasks, but when we press the push button, so we will do all those things in the function of push button call function. Here is the code I have already generated. Handles.score. Handles.score is like I created the handle. I will explain it later. Just leave it now. Access, this is the handle of access to, so we perform the access command. We generated the uh, random number, so here it is. Whenever we push the spin button, all these boxes will have to generate a random number. That random number will be associated to the one of the 5 random images, and those images will be shown. How we do it? Let's these lines are just, I am calling this function random image are images that I have already explained 15 times, and we have 15 random images associated to these figures. Now here is the logic. What we want is, we want whenever same number appears in a row or column, we should increment the score. Score is basically, okay, let me explain the score button now. So this is edit text button. We can display any number or text we want to display on this button. This is dynamic text displaying button, like, and this is static text displaying button. So I will choose this button, I will place it here. All these properties are the same like I have explained earlier. I will right click here and go to the callback button. Here is the callback of edit1. Edit1 is the tag of that button. What I will do is, what I want is to display the score, of the overall game. So here I have, so we have a condition that the score will be initialized from 100. So initial score of the game will be 100. So we will go to the initial function, initial create function of our GUI. Here it is. Untitled 1 is the name. This is opening function. This function is called whenever we open our GUI. So we need to define the number, uh, uh, score basically, in this function, so that the score is defined whenever this game is open. So what I did is, I did handles as a structure. So I created a handles dot score, a variable, and assigned it to 100. So score is a score. I have created a variable named score that is associated with the structure handles, and this is initialized here. And GUI data, it basically updates the handles of the structure of handle. Here is the main file. Did it like here. I initialize the handles.score variable. Whenever we push button, this function is called, and 110 points are deducted from the overall score. This is the logic I have explained earlier. Here is the logic to increment the score. So if line number 1, that is basically this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15, I have initialized 15 numbers. Each number is associated with this one of these boxes, and whenever this spin button is pressed, each box will generate a random number, and this number will be saved. If these if uh, these five numbers are matched, then we call we have a match. If this row is matching, we call it a match. And 1 and 2 and 3 and n5. So basically this is row number 1. If row number 1 have have same image, have same random number generated, then we will check what number it is, to check what image it has randomly generated to show. So we have switch statement. We are performing basically all these 1 to 5 numbers are same, so we can perform switch statement to any of these numbers. Case 1 is basically we are considering number 1 is 7. So if we have 7 number image in a row, then we increment 100. Similarly, we increment the score according to the image. Here is row 2, here is row 3, here is column 1, here is column 2, here is column 3, 4 and 5. Now what we need to do is we need to pass the score to the to uh, this box. So what we did is, like we did earlier, this box is just to show. So I already created the callback function for this box. That callback button, what that callback button is doing is simply creating the just simply initializing it or nothing else. Like when we created handles.score variable to the main GUI opening function, we also need to create a variable that can be used in a in that box to display the to display that number. So let me go back to that box. I guess that will be below. Here is final score. But final score is this box. I have named it this box final score. This is tag. So this tag refers to this button. Not button exactly. This is just text show. So this function and this function are generated automatically. So we set the we basically this box is text. So whatever we have we want to show in this box should be text. So we converted this handles.score number to string and passed it to handles.final score, basically to the handle structure of the that text box, and updated the GUI. Similarly, I created a restart button. This is also a push button. I push button, and here are the backend functions of the restart button. This is callback and this is create function. This function is basically called whenever this GUI is created. So to create this button, and this function is called whenever we press this push button. So whenever we press this push button, handles.score, I update the handles.score to the starting score of the game, which is 100, and similarly I update the final score. Final score variable is basically the variable of this box, just to show that number, and update the GUI data. GUI data, update GUI data. So let's run this application. Here we go. This is basically the initial uh, first initialized uh, GUI. That's why this is empty, because we have not initialized it, these boxes. So whenever we press spin, 15 random images are generated, and each random image is shown in its relevant box. This spin, I pressed spin button. Here we have all this, and whenever I press this spin button, 10 points are deducted from this final score. This I pressed again, no match, so 80. I pressed again, no match, 70. No match, 60. No match, 50. No match, 40. 30. No match. No match. No match. No match. No match. Let's try restart. Restart will reset the score. It will just reset the score what, and it will not affect the state of the game. Here we go. We have one row match, and this row is apple. So the score is incremented 20 basically. 10 is deducted as cost of the spin, and final score is 110. No match. Here we have this match. Score is incremented. Score incremented. That's it. I hope you got I hope you got it.